Hello again, YouTube. Yet another Polaroid video on conversion to pinhole, and this one I thought was kind of cool because I made this one. This one is like the other one in a different video I made. This one works off the original electronic shutter. And the way I did this, you open up the back on this, and we'll collapse it so you can see better. Yeah, we'll collapse it so you can see better. There. In the back here, where the back lens was, I popped that lens out, and in this particular model and version, they're held in, I don't know if you can see that, it's a serrated retaining washer, and that held in the inner lens. These are just the two lenses I popped out of it. This one was a 2-element plastic lens. Took that out, popped out the glass with a plastic, and stuck in the pinhole that I bought. And I was able to get an exact size, and I think this was 1.25 inches. The pinhole diameter is 0.5 millimeter, and it fit right into the original hole. I was able to install it using the original serrated retaining washer. And I think I've mentioned before, I get these pinholes on eBay from a guy whose username is FireSeller66, I think. I'm not affiliated with him. I just get pinholes from him, and he has done a remarkable job with these things. But in any event, I popped out the back lens, put my new exact fit pinhole in there, put the retaining ring in there, and that took care of the entire back side. On the front, I've had this apart a couple of times, so I'm not going to do it again, but it was pretty simple. You've got 4 screws that hold the face of this particular model on. This is a 104, which is not really a high-end camera. You pop this faceplate on, which is typically held on by just a little splat of glue at the factory. I was able to pry it off in nearly perfect condition. Remove the 4 screws. You have 4 tiny little brass nuts, one in each corner. And from the back side, I don't know if you can see it or not, the screws are here, here, and here. Take those out. This front thing comes out as a unit. The guts stay in place. Now, the first thing I had to do that you can't see, unfortunately, from this view, but I'll use my old donor electronic guts here. Take that front off, and there's your electronic photo cell. Well, calling it an electronic photo cell is being a little gracious. On this particular model, it only had the 2 shutter settings, or 2 aperture settings for color and black and white. It is currently set for color because the black and white is too small. And that little slidey thing that has the large aperture and small aperture crosses right here. Now, all I did to block out the light from getting to the sensor is I took a piece of black felt. It's a stick-on. You peel it back off, you can stick the felt to anything. I put a piece of electrical tape on the back, the sticky side of the felt, and put it underneath the slide. You'll see it if you take it apart. It's a thing that looks kind of like that. Slid it underneath, on top of the photo cell, and then just kind of touch down the bits of electrical tape at the ends to hold it in place. I could have just blacked out this photocell completely, but I always work on the assumption that someday I'm going to take this apart and do something else with it. I'm sure I won't, but you never know. So I've taken the front of this apart. I've, from the inside, covered up the photocell. And when you've got the outside cover in your hand, you're going to see that it's got that ring. That ring will come off. This too has a glass or a plastic lens in it. I'm sorry, it was in here, and that too is held in by a serrated retaining washer, and it held in that lens. So I popped that out of there, and I used, I don't know if I can find it right now or not, I used a fine pick to just pop that thing up so I didn't damage it. Remove the lens, and that is almost all I did to this thing. The contacts in the back weren't any good, so I also online I got a little 2-cell AAA holder, which, as it turns out, snaps in there okay on this model, but it doesn't allow the door to close because this has a slightly different body style. The better models have a removable battery cradle. I think it's one screw. You take the screw out, the whole thing comes out, and these little aftermarket battery packs drop right in there. This, however, doesn't work on this less expensive model. And then it operates like any Polaroid would. Cock it. Batteries are in, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. That opens the shutter, and that shutter will stay open as long as I hold my finger on the button, and when my exposure is complete, I release the button and the electric shutter closes. I have not field tested this thing yet. I just wanted to do a quick video because I think this is awfully cool, and I like Pinhole, and I like Polaroids, and I'm kind of looking forward, I'm very much looking forward to taking this outside. I was going to try it out today, but here in New England, where there's no snow, there are lots of clouds. But I thought you might get a kick out of that. And really, that's all there was to it. It probably, if I had to do it right now, it would take me half an hour to do what I did. And when I can find my rubber cement, I'm going to glue this plate back over it, just because it does hold in. I'm going to put that back on there, that ring back on there, and this holds that in place. And again, I want to put it back together so I don't lose any of the parts, because you never know when I'm going to want to change it.